Good day and welcome to yet another episode of Schoolboy Rugby Bonanza, where we always talk schoolboy rugby, and once again, schoolboy rugby. As you know, that Schoolboy Bonanza, here we do things on a unique basis and on a different basis. We don't always do things the same as your normal podcast. So, for the first time ever, we're going to have a Friday night show.
Hmm.
Um, Holidays is around the corner. So school holidays is looming. Exams is under the way. So schoolboy rugby has taken a bit of a break. But in the holidays, we're gonna have a festival of rugby, the Craven Week, where the best players, school players of every provinces are tackling one another to fight out to see who is the best future stars in South African rugby. Of course, to talk about it with me is, of course, the founder, Mr. Schoolboy Rugby Bonanza, Louis van Kopenhagen. How are you today?
Good, good, Steve. It's good to be here. It's a Friday, just before the weekend, special edition, and quite excited to talk about the pinnacle of schoolboy rugby, which is the Craven Week.
Yes,
Um, And yes, many of us know about the Craven Week, but this is specifically for people who live in South Africa, who follow schoolboy rugby, and for them to understand why the Craven Week is so important within schoolboy rugby and the bigger picture of the Springboks as well.
absolutely. Right, let's have a look and let's dive in.
Yes. So this is going to be very interesting. So, all right. So, as we know, the Craven Week has been with us for many years.
Oh, yeah.
And today we are just going to focus on a few things. And this is where many people believe where the future stars of the Springboks
Yes,
are born and discovered more specifically.
absolutely.
So um, it's something that's also very dear to my heart. If all goes well and all dreams can come true, I would love to coach at Craven Week level. I would be extremely happy to do that. So, so people will ask, what is the Craven Week? It is more than just a rugby tournament. It is a festival, as you said in the beginning, the
Yeah,
best of the best rugby, schoolboy rugby players celebrated within 1 week, playing against each other, matching themselves up, skills, everything. So, and I think this is also something for the coaches because the coaches gets selected from the schools. So
absolutely.
that is also something for them. It's not just for the players, but the coaches who sit and coach them, they can go from a school to Craven Week to a provincial side and maybe even end up in the Springboks. So for them, this is also a very important tournament.
Yeah.
And it is probably one of the only kind of tournament in the whole world. You do not see this anywhere else. So it is very unique. It's a very big tradition. And every
Mhm.
year they will play in a different province. So this year we
Yeah,
know Grey High in PE will host the Craven Week. So that's going to be a very good tournament, I think, as well. As we know, PE is the windy city, so they will have to deal with the wind. So it's going to be interesting to see how they deal with that. And so usually it is for your under 18. So the Craven Week specifically for your under 18s or your first teams. Um, and it is players that are selected from different schools that are put together in your provincial teams, the Cheetahs, the Lions, Western Province, Eastern Cape, the Leopards, and the list goes on. And what the Craven Week has done as well, the schools team from Zimbabwe, as well as the Namibian schools team
Yeah,
partake in the Craven Week. And I think
yes,
that is a very good gesture. And I really
absolutely.
that the Craven Week can expand in such a way that we can bring in all the other countries from Africa to come and take part in this tournament. That would be very nice to see, I think.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, yeah, and it's always been a tradition that Zimbabwe and Namibia, we've always had a relationship with them as our neighbors. So it's always been since the 80s, 90s. It's been an on and off tradition to invite Zimbabwe and Namibia to the Craven Week, and it's a great gesture, and it's also an opportunity for them because there's an extreme amount of talent, especially in Zimbabwean schools. We all know about St. John's that participate at the Easter festivals on a regular basis. There's been about 3 teams from Zimbabwe that participated in the Easter Festival this year, and then
Yeah.
there was also a Namibian school
Yes.
that participated at one of the Easter festivals. So it's
Yeah.
great for their rugby, as there's a huge amount. I think the great challenge for them, of course, especially in Zimbabwe, is to retain those players from on school levels in the country, and that's where funding is going to come in. But that's a different story. But it's great to have Namibia and Zimbabwe
Yes.
participate at the Grand Week.
And as we know, that Zimbabwe has qualified for the 2027 World Cup. Now, I
Yes,
think that is a huge achievement. And
yeah,
we know a couple of weeks ago they played against the SAA team. And although they lost, but they can take a lot of positives from that game. They actually played good rugby. I
oh
really
yeah,
enjoyed that game. And I think it's also a very good advertisement for Zimbabwean rugby to show the people and investors, listen, these guys are serious. And once they plow in money into Zimbabwean rugby, I am sure the players will stay.
absolutely. Yeah, it's all about funding, and so
Yeah.
it's great for the schools and also for the players to get recognized, and for the schoolboys in
Yeah.
Zimbabwe and Namibia to get recognized and to play at such a platform against the best that Africa has to offer.
Oh, yes.
So it is really incredible initiative.
And then why does everyone talk about the Craven Week? Yes, we know it is a prestige tournament. It is an
Yeah,
opportunity to showcase your talent. It's an
yeah,
opportunity to showcase what and who you are. And especially if you want to make rugby a career, this is basically the stepping stone for your provincial career going forward
absolutely.
after school. So I think that is a very good showcase of schoolboy talent. And as they always say, today's stars, tomorrow's Springboks, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
So, and also it is not just the Springboks, but if you look at Springbok Sevens, a lot of those players are drawn up into the Springbok Sevens from there on. We know someone who went to school with us who played for the Springbok Sevens eventually after playing Craven Week, right? So,
True.
um, but it's not everyone who wants to make a career out of rugby, but the ones who do, and especially if they are at Craven Week level, they
Mm,
have the chance to be scooped up by the provinces, and then they can start to pave the way for their rugby career.
absolutely, yeah.
So, um, let's see here. So it's all about prestige, it's all about the opportunity and the pathway to professional rugby. And I think also that gives them a sense of the competitiveness of professional rugby. So, which is actually a very good thing, I
Oh
think.
yes. Oh yes.
So many people will ask, where did the Craven Week start and why was it started, right? So we
Hmm.
all know Dr. Donnie Craven, right? Um, it originated in 1949, where
Yeah.
he wanted to celebrate the 75th anniversary of South African Rugby Board. So, and he thought, because he has always been someone who had a passion for schoolboy rugby. And he thought, why not create a tournament where we can celebrate the 75th anniversary and take it forward from there? Because if you go and look at Doc Craven, whenever he spoke, everything he wrote about was always about schoolboy rugby.
Yeah.
Nothing more to him mattered than this. And if you have someone like this behind the idea, it can only be a success.
Oh, yes. Yeah, it's incredible, and their name has always stayed the Grand Week. If you
Yeah,
even not even in our cricket schools, cricket school has the school festivals have the same name. The name of in for example in the cricket schools, was originally Nuffield Week. Now it's a completely different name. Where with the rugby, the name Craven Week has always since the beginning. It's always remained the same name,
yeah,
which makes our competition, the rugby festival, so unique. Also
yes.
as something special in South African sport.
Yeah, and I think also it is something, as you said, it's special because it hasn't lost its name. It didn't change its name.
No,
And all of these core values from day one has been carried over and forward until
yeah,
today. So,
absolutely.
and that is something, it never lost its identity. And I think that is something very, very important because
Yes.
as soon as a name change or things like this, it loses its identity, right?
Yeah, it does. You are so right. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And we also know Doc Craven, he was a Springbok rugby player. He played scrum
Hmm.
half. And after rugby, he taught at university level, but he always wanted to celebrate schoolboy rugby, although he was teaching at university. So
Yeah.
I think that is, and I think also purely out of his character, for as long he was president of SARU, he really stood by his values. And something about the Craven Week that always gets me excited because we know Coca-Cola, they are the main sponsors of the Craven Week, and all the guys in the teams get a red bag with their number on. And I always,
Wow.
when I saw these red bags at school, when we were still at school, I was like, wow, I would love to have a bag like that. It would mean so much. I mean, yes, it's just a bag, but it just gave so much identity because we always associated Coca-Cola with the Craven Week.
Oh yeah. Oh yes. Yeah.
So, um, and so let's see here. So we just to delve into Doc Craven, 1931, he made his Springbok debut. 1949, became a Springbok coach. 1956, president of the South African Rugby Board for 15 years. Um, and then
Yeah,
he,
actually longer, because altogether he was in charge of Saru until the day of his death,
yes,
when Dr. Patel took over from him.
yeah,
So it's just that I think his roles changed significantly in the years. But
yeah,
he was the driving force of the African rugby for many decades, and I think he's the longest serving president that we've ever had that in charge of South African rugby.
yes, yeah. And then he helped to form SARFU, as we know,
Yeah,
as we know it today. Um, And
Correct.
also, yeah, so very interesting. Uh, he was also chairman of the International Rugby Board from
That's correct. Yes.
1972
Yeah.
1988. So,
Yes.
and he's been known as Mr. Rugby, as you've said, for many, many decades.
Oh,
More
yes.
60 years of service to rugby. That is a
Yeah.
lifetime, Steve.
Incredible.
That is,
Yeah, no, he was a legend.
yeah.
When I first started watching rugby, I think he was probably the foremost person that always stood out for me. Everybody
Mm,
knew who Donny Craven was. I've read so many books about his rugby career. He, of
mm,
course, was the one that absolutely perfected that famous diving pass
yes,
of scrum halves. He
yes,
was the one that perfected it.
yeah.
He was captain of the Springbok teams and a couple of tests. Also
Mm,
coaching, as you said, he also coached the Springboks,
yes,
manager of the Springbok team,
mm,
incredible figure.
yeah,
And many players has been recognized and identified by Dr. Donny Craven, especially those that came from Marty Stellenbosch.
yeah,
As really Donny Craven was a driving force. And of course, the 80s, 1982 to 87, when Western Province dominated Currie Cup rugby, a huge influence or a huge amount of credit had to go to Darren Craven. He was a huge influence in
yeah,
Western Province rugby and the dominance of Western Province rugby in the 80s.
yeah. No, definitely. So, um, and it is just amazing to see that how much he cared and
Yes.
wanted more for South African rugby. I mean, he basically gave his life to South African rugby.
Yeah, absolutely.
So kudos to him, and thank you that we still have the Craven Week today. It is just one of those tournaments, and I think every schoolboy, once they reach the first team of their school, no matter a big school or a small school, I don't think many of them think further than Craven Week. That's the pinnacle for them. Because from the Craven Week, yes, they get selected for the SA Schools team. But for most of them, if they can reach Craven Week level, they will feel a sense of, belonging
Achievement.
and achievement. So
Mhm.
I think that is very, very important as well. And it's a dream to live to, something to aspire to for these young boys, right?
Absolutely.
So, and something we need to understand, although there is a winner, but it's more a festival than a championship, right? So
Yeah.
yes, they play against each other, and there is a unofficial final on the final day of the Craven Week, but it is more to celebrate development of rugby, development of
Yeah.
these young boys, developing their skills, sportsmanship. The list goes,
Yeah.
because this is where they get shaped for their future if they continue with rugby as a career. And it gives them a great opportunity to show the unions out there that they are capable and they want to. I mean, we had an interview with Grey College's first team captain where,
Yeah.
I mean, even clubs out of France that wanted to poach him, but he said he's going to stay in South Africa. So kudos to him on that one. So it
Yeah.
shows you what this means for these boys and what they can be capable of doing with their future. So I think that's very good. And then, yes, it's an opportunity, talent, and as we can see here, a big red cross, winning at all cost. Yes, competition is important, but winning is not the priority, right? It's a
Yeah.
celebration. And I think
Yeah.
once people, and even the boys who play Craven Week, if they still can sit with this mindset of, yes, we want to win. We don't have to win, but it's a celebration. I think if that mentality can be brought back, I think it will change the whole dimension of the Craven Week.
Well, Alexis said it himself. He's got far more pressure to play for Great College than to play in a Craven Week. That's what he
Yes,
experienced last year. Of course, the Craven Week, as you said, is a festival, so
yes,
there's way more pressure to play for Great College, where you are expected to be the best in South Africa and you're expected to win every single game. Where in a
correct.
Craven Week, it's all about identifying and an opportunity for the boys to showcase the talent, and that is basically what it is. It's a show. It's basically a huge showcase of talent,
Yeah,
so that people can see what talent is available in South Africa, what talent is available in every province, and also for the biggest selectors to identify certain players to go through the structure, and
yeah,
that is what Craven Week is all about on
yeah,
primary school level as well as high school level.
yeah. And like you and I have spoken through most of this year, that
Mm,
the top 100 schools are so close to each other. And
yeah.
this is what has been wonderful, that you can see in the different provinces. And
Yes.
it's not just one school that is dominating. It's now a couple of schools. And with the Craven Week selection that I've seen with most of the teams so far, that it is not predominantly one school in a province. Um,
Yeah.
Three, four, five, some seven, eight schools where these players come from. And I think that already shows the high level of competition between the schoolboys and the schools itself within their different provinces and as a whole.
Absolutely.
So, um, let's see here. And right. So, very interesting. So, as you said, under 13 from primary school. So, that is basically your first stepping stone
Yeah.
into this whole pathway to get into Craven Week at under 13 level. That's primary school for the people who don't know. Still in South Africa, so under 13 is your primary school, grade 7. Then Grand Como is your under 16. That is quite a newish um, tournament they brought in. This is
Yeah.
very much for your um, teams or talent that are your development uh, teams, basically. So,
Correct.
and I think that is a very good initiative, right? Because now you've got under 13, then you've got the under 16 Grand Como. Then, when it comes to the Craven Week, you've got your Craven Week side, you've got your academy side. So, your academy
Correct.
side are the guy, it's basically the second team, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Absolutely.
so, but they, and funny enough, what I've heard as well from some of the players that we went to school with that played for Craven Week, but the academy side, they played in the main Craven Week side the whole tournament.
Yeah.
So very interesting. And I think it's also just to give these boys a chance to, okay, you didn't get into the Craven Week side, but there is an academy side. It doesn't mean you are weaker. So, um, but still, from the academy side, you can still be drawn up into the SA school
Absolutely.
side. So that is
Yeah.
also, nothing is lost at the end of the day, because some people will feel, oh, I didn't make the Craven Week side. But you got into the academy side. But if you
Mm.
showcase what you can do, you still have a
Yeah.
chance
Yeah.
to get into the SA school side. So um, then the academy side is the best under 18 academy players. Um, Craven Week, yes, it's the pinnacle of schoolboy rugby, as we know, provincial
Yeah.
pride, national exposure. And then once the Craven Week has been concluded, then they will choose an SA school side and an
Yes.
SA academy side. And
Yeah.
I think this is where the competition heats up because
Yeah.
now they know what is at stake. And um, last year, the SA school side was phenomenal. They were
Mm.
brilliant, as well as the academy side. Um, we know towards the end of last year, some of the European teams like England, Scotland, Ireland, even Georgia came to play here against the
Mm.
SA schools and SA academy sides. Even France was here. So,
Yeah.
and I think that's a great exposure for them as well. It's a stepping stone for them to get into professional rugby if rugby is their career after school. Um, and then obviously you get your under 20s and SAA and things like this, but we will talk about that on another day. So, um, and I think also SA schools, that makes me very excited because now it's all these guys, and they only play for 1 week in July, and then they get selected for the SA school side. I think that must be a huge honor for these boys, right? To
Absolutely.
and um and I'm also very happy that because previous years, yes, you got selected for the SA school side, but they didn't play many games. Now that schoolboy rugby is almost professional, as we've mentioned many times, they make sure that these guys, and I am sure Rassie Erasmus is behind this because you get selected for the SA school side, but now, okay, what now? Now they actually play games, and that is good to see. That's very good to see. Um, Right. So here are just some of the teams that we know that plays in the Craven Week. We know it is expanded over the years as the years gone by. So provincial teams, your main teams that have always been there, the Western Province, the Lions, Sharks, Cheetahs, and as we said, Namibia and Zimbabwe that gets invited as well. So your other teams, Eastern Province, the Leopards, um,
Nora, the Blue Bulls.
us from Mpumalanga. So
Yeah.
um, just to mention a few, and I think it's also very important for folks to understand that in each province there are so many schools to choose from. I,
Yeah.
to be very honest, I am very happy I do not have to be a selector for any of these teams because I think it must be very difficult.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and then usually what will happen once these teams are selected, they will have a few warm-up games against schools before the Craven Week starts. And then what they will do before the official Craven Week, they will have warm-up games, for example, Western Province and the Lions. They will play,
Yeah.
though it's not part of the Craven Week, but it's only a warm-up game. So, and then already you can see, and this is something I take my hat off to the coaches of these sides because they basically have a month with these boys, right? So now, within a month or a few weeks, they must get these boys to gel together and play the rugby of their lives. So kudos to the coaches to be able to do this as well, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So um, and as we can see here, this is a map of South Africa. So they are going to play around here this year. And every year it's a different province that gets selected. So it's not just one school or one province. So next year they will play somewhere else. And I think that's also fair on everyone. So everyone gets a chance to host the Craven Week, as we all know how big a deal it is within South African rugby.
Oh yes. Oh yes.
Okay. So so just to give some structure on what happens during this week. So it's a week-long event, 7 days of schoolboy rugby. So all the provincial sides, so they will play against each other, multiple matches per day. And then you get your selectors and scouts that will sit and watch this and identify players they want. So
Yeah.
um, amazing. It's really amazing. So we can see here 6 to 8 teams, but obviously it has grown to much more.
There's about 14 provincial teams, sometimes
Yes,
even more, because they also include the Limpopo Blue Bulls, for example, and then
yes,
it's Zimbabwe and Namibia. So
yeah,
sometimes, there's about up to 16 to 18
yeah,
provinces
yeah,
that participate in this festival. Because it's also, besides your normal 14 provinces, your senior provinces,
yes,
like in the
yeah,
Currie Cup section, there's
mm,
also the Limpopo team that participate, and then Zimbabwe and Namibia. So that's already gives you 17. So there's up to 18 at
yeah,
least
yeah,
that normally participate
yeah,
at the Grain Week.
yeah. So, and also we know it is broadcasted on SuperSport Schools,
Yeah,
as it is a huge deal within South African rugby, um, and within South Africa as well. So, um, it is something that really excites me. It's something that really gets me going.
yeah,
And it is just wonderful to see these players. They just play like there's no tomorrow. Um, I remember last year, especially the Natal Craven Week team, the Sharks team last year. Steve, they played a few warm-up games against, one was against the Blue Bulls and the other one against the Golden Lions. And I
yeah,
remember the backline, especially the backline. They were on fire. They got the ball and they just wanted to run. It was such beautiful rugby. And you sit here and you get so excited for these boys because you can see they are playing the rugby of their lives. And you can see on some of their faces, it seems they are having a blast. And
yeah,
that, to me, is almost more important than the score, than anything else.
absolutely.
So now this is very, very interesting. So as we know, some of the provinces still go this route. Some of them have selectors that go to the games and select players they want. But
Yeah,
usually what will happen, so obviously during your normal rugby season, and then players will be identified by the
yeah,
coaches and the coaching staff and scouts, whoever is involved within the Craven Week setup, and they will invite these players to go and play trials. And then from
yeah,
there, they make it, that's almost like cutting
yeah,
out the ones they don't want and trim, trim, trim till they have the team they want. So
absolutely.
that is usually what will happen. Then there's a training squad. So they will begin the formal training and getting ready for the Craven Week. Then, as we said, the warm-up matches. So usually they will play against some schools,
Yeah.
and then against the other Craven Week sides as well. Um, and they had an interview last year with one of the Blue Bulls Craven Week players. I can't remember what position he played, but now he was selected, and then they played against the school he came from. So the interviewer was like, the very first question, I said to him, didn't congratulate him, nothing. And he said, the very first question, like, how does it feel to play against your teammates? And he said, I never dreamt of doing this. I never dreamt it would ever happen. But it was fun and it was interesting. That's all he said. So
Yeah.
it sums it up quite nicely. And so then obviously your during that week in July, it's usually the first week in July that they will have first or second week of July where they will have the Craven Week, and
Yeah.
then they will play their games and the unofficial winners will walk away with the spoils. So um yeah, it's a very short time frame for them to be within the Craven Week setup, but I think it's a very important um, part of schoolboy rugby.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And now this is a very interesting one. Um, and I think this is where a lot of people might, even with the Springboks, why is this one selected and not that one, right? So, and I think from a coaching perspective, they look at certain things as well, right? What can you bring to the table, basically? So skill, strong core skills in all facets, clean execution under pressure, game
Yeah.
breakers. So they are looking for certain players that can give them these kind of things, right?
Mm.
Physicality, we know, speed, to be big and to be physical,
Mm.
because South African rugby has always been labeled as physical.
Yeah.
So, and now this is a very good one. Rugby IQ. And
Yeah.
not many, the only one of the very few names that comes to mind when it comes to rugby IQ is Nas Botha, right?
Mm.
Just the way he managed the game and can read a game. Even for Reed Priya, his rugby IQ was second to none. So
Yeah.
they are looking for people who can make good decisions, can read a game,
Yeah.
tactical awareness, and it's it's very easy for us to sit as a spectator and watch to see, okay, yeah, you should have done this. Oh no, you should have done that. Um, but being on the field and being able to read your opponent, that is a very different story.
Yeah.
And then character, obviously leadership qualities, humility and respect, coachable, team first attitude. Now, I think that is very, very important. And I think it
Yeah.
sums it up for any rugby player within a rugby team.
Yeah.
And now we come to something you and I also speak about quite a lot,
Yeah.
consistency.
Consistency.
Because if you are going to have one good game, two bad games, a good game, one bad game, an average game, they are not going to select you.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, week in, week out, you need to perform at the top, at the best
Yeah.
level. So,
Absolutely.
and potential, and there's always room to grow, right? Not
Absolutely.
necessarily, you might not necessarily be the biggest or the strongest or the fastest, but if you have the willingness to learn, to grow, and to want to be better than what you were today, tomorrow you want to be better than what you were today, then that also is something I think a lot of these coaches look at. And we can even see with the Springbok side, some of the players aren't the biggest, and then people
Yeah,
think, how can you select them? They are not the biggest, but they have skill, they have the willingness, and because they are sitting with Rassie Erasmus as their coach, who can teach them and help them to be a better player. And this is something a former Springbok told me the one day, that size doesn't matter, not always.
yeah,
So,
absolutely, absolutely.
and that's
Yeah,
something many people mistaken. Yes, we know you and me can't be forwards. I think we are too small and skinny. I mean, if you must run up or try to tackle Eben Etzebeth, for example, I mean, you and me are going to be in hospital, right? So,
yeah,
but yes, some of your forwards, some of your positions, yes, you need to be big, you need to be strong, you need to be physical. So, for them to be big and strong, yes, by all means. But if you don't have to or don't need to, it's not the end of the world. So, and I think this is a message for all the schoolboys who wants to make rugby a career, but sit and think, "Oh, I'm not too big, or I'm not the fastest, or I'm not the strongest." If you work hard and you're
absolutely.
willing, you can.
Yeah. There's actually so many facets that we can discuss. This is just some of the things. I think we're going to stop here for today
Yeah.
because we've run out of time. But we're going to continue next time. And next time, we're going to look at the road ahead. You know what happens after the Craven Week? So that's one of the facets that we're going to dive in, besides also looking at the other things. And then, of course, we will keep you updated on the matches that's played, the squads, the updates, the players to look out for. So all of these later next week, we will have episodes lined up where we will duck a bit, even a bit deeper inside the Craven Week, the road after Craven Week, what happens at the Craven Week, what players to look out for, provinces to look out for, who's been dominating the Craven Week for the past few years. All of this will be delved into in our next episodes. So please stay tuned. If you've never saw any of our previous episodes, of course, Schoolboy Bonanza, we've had it since the beginning of the year. We're now at episode 36, which is absolutely incredible. All of our episodes are available on our YouTube channel, Global School Rugby Bonanza, as well as our Facebook group. It's a public group, Global School Rugby Bonanza. If you want to catch up on our former episodes, just go to our Facebook, the featured section, and you can dive into all the episodes, including our online magazine, the link for our online magazine that comes out every month. It's incredible to see how the community's been growing on our Facebook channel. We've surpassed the 2,000 members mark. We are already over 2,000 members, which is
Sure.
absolutely incredible. We started with this group last year. When we started with this show, we had just over 200 members, and we have now gained, since we've done this show, we've gained 1,800 more members. So thank you so much for everyone's support. Of course, we've also got the YouTube channel, and then we've also got other platforms under Global Schoolboy Rugby Bonanza. We've got a WhatsApp channel. We've got a TikTok. We're also available on TikTok. And then we are also on Instagram. So you can catch up on all of our platforms. Whatever platform you like, you can join up with us. To our community, we would like to say thank you so much for your support. Without you, it won't be possible for us to promote Schoolboy Rugby. Without your support, we appreciate each and every one of you, whether you're a regular contributor or just a normal member, each one of you are valuable for us, and we appreciate you. Then, of course, we also would like to thank our staff. Every single staff member that's involved in this project are doing it for free. We're still a non-profit at this stage. Obviously, we are moving forward, but every single one of them are doing it for the love and the passion of it. So we would like to thank all our staff, starting with Arno, that is in charge of the online magazine with Louis, Arno Wirtes, and our journalist. He's also on the interview panel. Thank you so much. Elaine Hogan, one of our co-leaders on the Facebook group and also involved in promoting. She's also on the interview panels, where we are interviewing coaches. She's also joined our interview panel. So you will also see a lot more of Elaine. And she's all the way from Limerick, Ireland. And she's doing a lot to promote global school rugby also in the schools in Ireland. So thank you so much to Elaine. Of course, Louis' beloved wife, that helps with the layout of the magazine, and that also keeps our founder in check and makes sure that he does his job and makes sure that he keeps doing his job. So thank you so much to Sarah for always sorting out our founder and making sure that he's always diligent and on time with the deadline of the magazine. And then, of course, we also would like to thank our future games panel. That's always our crew that always goes to the Schoolboy games with Louis. Special thanks to our cameraman, Mr. Brian Dudley. He's been at almost every single future game, and without a cameraman, there's no ways we can bring the visuals. So thank you so much to Brian Dudley. And then, of course, our legendary madman, Mr. Von, that's always one of the co-presenters with Louis at every single future game. Thank you so much to each and every one of you. Thank you so much for being part of this vision. We appreciate and love each and every one of you. Yeah. That brings us to the end of this chat show. From myself, it's goodbye, and from Mr. Louis from Copenhagen,
till next time.
Until next time.